You stand right here, and you consciously walk over to that wall and then come back here again. But unconsciously, that means you're going to move every muscle. Before you move the muscle, you're going to think about it, and then you're going to do it. So go ahead. Well, to walk, you got to move a foot, don't you? Mm-hmm. Which one are you going to move first?
Right.
Right foot. Well, you did two things. You did three things. You see, first you changed weight. Then you pick the leg up and you put it forward at the same time. Let's do one at a time. Pick the leg up, move it forward, stay on the back leg, move it forward, put it down. Okay, stay on that back leg. Pick the back leg up. No, pick it up. No, pick it up. You can't do that, huh? You got to change weight first. Change weight, pick the back leg up, move it forward, set it down. Don't change weight, stay on the other leg. Okay, let's go all the way to the wall. But think about it, don't look at me. You see what I'm talking about? You make it awkward when you try to control something that's already been controlled by the subconscious mind carrying out the program. You put the program, how are you going to walk? And now you want to consciously mess it up. Can't do that. You got to pick it up and say, what I got to do? You got to put it down someplace. So you put it down, and now you got to lift the other one. And say, oh, hell, I got to change weights first. Then you got to change weight. You got to pick it up and say, oh, wait a while, that ain't going to work. I got to pick it up and I got to move it over here. Doesn't work that way. So I say to you, you think about your eyelids and you relax your eyelids. Don't say feel them relaxing because you don't know what's happening. Tell them to do it. And the subconscious mind says, you want me to relax? Oh, fine, I'll go ahead, I'll relax it. My own way. I'll create the symptom that we experience. Not that it's warm and cold and everything else. You go ahead and create what you want to do. You do all of this. You handle all of this. Picture and imagine, if you can, something flowing across your forehead. What's it going to do with this cream? It's going to soothe and it's going to comfort. It's going to rest and relax, and it's going to penetrate. Send the feeling of comfort deep inside in the pores. So picture and imagine, right in the center of the forehead, you got a blob or a spot of creamy, fluffy lotion. And imagine on this creamy, fluffy lotion, soothing and comforting. Lotion is pleasant, restful and relaxing. Imagine this lotion slowly spreads across your forehead, resting and relaxing, penetrating in the tiny pores in your skin. As you're talking about this, they begin to feel the penetration. Allow this relaxation to spread all the way across your forehead. I'll tell you what you do. Send this relaxation from the forehead down over the temples into your cheeks. And now you think about your cheeks and you relax your cheeks. Oh, come on. Make those cheek muscles limp and loose and rested and relaxed. You see, I'm going to get you to talk a bit. You're going to butter these people up a little bit. You handle all of this. Because if you use their thought process into their brain, you're going to control their body much better. Because they're the bosses up there. All right. So why don't we start all over again and do the same thing, huh? Pair up again and see if we can get back into the track of doing the right. Yeah, okay.
Do you want us to use the paper? No, right?
You read it. The plaque says, I know you think that you understand. No. How does it go?
Look at me when you say that.
I know you think you understand what you thought I said. But I'm not quite sure that you realize that what you heard is not what I meant. You see? You're going to talk and let them relax and do this and do that. And the subconscious mind says, wait a while, you're talking in terms I don't understand. You're asking me to make a judgment. Your subconscious mind doesn't do that. It says, you talk to me, you tell me, and I do. I don't assume anything. I don't understand unless you're specific in what you're telling me to do. And I don't comprehend this word will, or them, or those. Talk to me language I understand. So I said before, you'll use words that don't have a double meaning, a triple meaning. If you do by accident, you cover up and says, by saying that word, this is what I mean. Did we talk about a block yesterday? What's a block?
Block?
Yeah.
Something that could stand in the way.
What's a block?
Interference. Something that's in the way and interference.
What's a block? What's a block?
A thought, a resistance?
What's a block? Little square piece.
Piece of wood.
What's a block?
City goes around.
A city block. So you got a city block, a block of wood, a block, and a thought. What are we talking about, block? He didn't understand when I said, what's a block? He had to interpret what I asked by what he considered a block to be. So I say, you think about that area in a city that is surrounded by streets. There's houses on it. That's a block. And think about the houses. They have a fence around the house, and it's made out of cement block. You see? I got to be specific. You know what they say if you assume something? And you do. So, be specific. Think about, create, allow this to happen, send it, do this. Now, for those of you who already purchased the tapes back there, I would suggest you look at the script. And if you like, cut out pieces of it. We're talking about this in a minute. And type them out the way you want if you like to. So when the person has the eyelids closed, hey, you can read it. But then you see, it sounds like a canned delivery. So I've got the tapes back there. You put them in your car as you're driving to work or driving someplace. You can listen to it. You can turn it off and turn it on. Oh, how did he say this? And go back to it and so forth. At home, play it a little bit. Learn to be terrific. Learn to be specific. You're not going to learn it all in one session. I say, this is it. I'll show you how to do it, but I can't do it for you. You can go to school, university, and you end up and you got a nice doctorate degree. Doctor of medicine. And what do they say? Fine. Before you start to practice, you'll go and you'll learn your business. You spend a couple of years interning. You work on somebody, somebody's there to help you, and you work on somebody, and after a couple of years, says, okay, now maybe we'll let you work on somebody. Or you can be a lawyer. You get out of school and you got an LLB, Bachelor of Law, or you might get a JD, Doctor of Jurisprudence. You walk in the courtroom, and you're lost. Totally lost. What do I do next? And the other guy says, I asked for a jury case. Oh my God, what do I do with the jury? Totally lost. You gotta get your feet wet. You have to practice. You know, before you can run, you gotta walk. So what you're getting here is an introduction to what you're supposed to really master. Now, I stood up here yesterday, and for an hour I talked to a young lady up here. Didn't have any problem. I probably do the same thing 4 or 5 times a day. I can go through that chapter. My eyes closed, sitting someplace, thinking about something else. I may vary 2 words out of the whole thing. Making a difference. I know what I'm doing because I've done it so often. You can't do it in 3 days. But you can learn how to do it. So if you're interested, the tapes are back there. People who've got their own material here, play that for yourself, yes?
I guess what you're saying, you really got to practice, because I still don't know what is what and what is how.
He doesn't know what is what and what is how.
I mean, I don't have a good definition of what is how.
Well, you got a good idea, because you see you've got my steps on outline form. I do this and I do this and I do that.
That's the what.
And then I say in the script, in that chapter, 52 pages, I do it, and you got the script right there. Practice it. All of these are steps. Take one at a time. Bring the hand onto the forward. That's that's induction. Work on that. Do the progressive relaxation. Work on that. Work on that for 3 or 4 days. That's all. And then you work on counting backwards. That's another step. Work on that. And then you get into the library or to the classroom and you work on that. You work on the elevator. You work these step by step by step by step. Then you put the pieces together. You see, this afternoon we're going to talk about how to get rid of the problem. That's another way. You got a girl in Phoenix that has a folder, and she has plastic inserts, and they flip one on top of the other. She just flips it up like that and reads. Well, this is for weight, okay, with the weight therapy. This is for the stress. And reads it. Well, that's fine. But, you know, sometimes you have to put it up here, like I do. See, 3 days, I don't have any notes. I just talk. It's all up here. I've used it so long, I worked, and I keep improving it all the time. I keep changing some things once in a while. The chapter you have has been probably changed 17, 18 times. Run across something. There's still something in there that's not right. I say walk all the way on to the end of the aisle. No, end of the bookshelf. You see? All right. A little bit here, a little bit there. You had your hand up.
If there's the possibility that a person has a message to not relax, how do you deal with that?
If you're going to find some people, you can do a progressive relaxation and they're going to bounce in that chair. Because relaxation for them is something strange and foreign. And you'll say, well, that's okay. And go back and relax them some more. And they'll jump up and say, that's okay. You see, all I'm doing is teaching you how to relax your body. That's all I'm doing. And if they say, well, it isn't working, I'm not being hypnotized. And I says to one guy, who the hell said I was hypnotizing you? I just asked you to relax your body. And if it ain't working, because you're not doing it. So go ahead and work it. You see, I asked him to do all these steps. And if it wasn't working, because he didn't do it. I didn't say feel this and feel that. I said, you create. He said, it ain't working, it ain't working. I said, what ain't working? So let's get busy and let's do what I asked you to do. If you don't want to do it, get out of here. And he did. By the time I got down to his toes, this guy's all like a light. Like that. Just stuck him in there. But he's waiting for me to do something. I got to hypnotize him. See, he was hypnotized before he ever sat down. Like this guy was standing up here. We did this arm relaxation. He was gone. In a deep state of hypnosis, he couldn't even open his eyelids. Hands up here, and they can't take their hands apart to look at you. What the hell's going on here? A deep state of hypnosis. Never knew it. I just slide him in, and just get him deeper and deeper. When we're all through, I say, what do you think? You've been hypnotized? Hell no. We had that problem. I wasn't hypnotized syndrome. They'll say to you over again, you didn't hypnotize me because I knew everything. So before you do anything, when you bring them in, I say, all right, you want to be hypnotized? Tell me, what do you know about hypnosis? And they go off on a tangent someplace. Yeah, I said, you're pretty close, but not quite there. I don't ridicule them. And I say, you mean you're going to be aware of everything we do and talk about? He says, yeah, that's fine. And you're right, that's what you're going to feel. So don't expect to go unconscious or unaware. Understand that. And when they open their eyelids, says, I wasn't hypnotized. I said, why? Because I heard everything you talked about. I said, well, didn't you tell me that? Yeah, but I shouldn't have been quite that aware. I should have been on cloud 9 someplace drifting. Yeah. And you see, I put in a couple of those little things in there. And in the chapter, the same thing. We do the progressive relaxation. And I said, now understand. At no time during the course of this session are you going to be unconscious or unaware. So please don't expect this to happen to you. So what you're doing in advance, you're answering the question that's going to come up later on. So, well, didn't I tell you way back when? Yeah, I guess you did. If you do it later on, he says, well, you're just covering up your mistakes. And your thoughts might drift to another subject. If that happens, don't be concerned about that. That's a normal, natural function of your thought process, and we don't disturb that. Nice and easy, nice and slow. I get no chance to think about it. Then I get sneaky. What do I say? If I get up and walk around, hey, you're going to know that. Car goes by, makes some racket, you're going to know that. My telephone might ring, you're going to know that. But guess what? Nothing bothers you, nothing disturbs you. Whatever you hear just causes you to relax progressively more and more, feeling more comfortable, more pleasant, and more peaceful. So any disturbance you put to your benefit. And then I say, your thoughts may drift on another subject. Hey, that's okay. Want to redirect your attention back to me? That's all right, too. I don't care. Frankly, I don't give a damn what you do anymore, because your subconscious mind is already open and receptive to everything we talk about and all your needs and all your desires. Wow. Your subconscious mind is open and receptive to everything we talk about. Boy, there's a big no right there. That is prone to be rejected. So I say, your subconscious mind is open, receptive to everything we talk about and all your needs and desires, and I'm also satisfied that you recognize that you can relax even more than you are now. So I'll tell you what, in a moment I'm going to have you count like this. I went past the point where they didn't say no. I just kept on talking. Sneaky, I told you. You're going to count like this: 100, 99. Now we're into the relaxation, we bypass the other one. Their option to reject just got eliminated. So if you don't want them to reject, don't give them the opportunity, keep on talking. As long as you're talking, they can't think for themselves.
What was that phrase that you said?
What?
The subconscious mind. Could you repeat that phrase?
It's on, you got it in the book there. Yeah. Your subconscious mind is open and receptive to everything we talk about and all your needs and all your desires. And I'm also satisfied that you recognize that you can relax even more than you are now. So I'll tell you what, in a moment, I'm going to have you count like this: 100, 99, 98, 97, 96. We just took them right back to the whole part. Yeah, they say, yeah, I can relax more than I am, so we'll go ahead and do the relaxation. So it's going to be difficult for you to go through the whole chapter and do it like I do. I've got years and years ahead of you. What I want you to understand, it's going to take some time to put the pieces together. And you start putting the pieces together, and then you start to use them. And your mind is going to be just blown out. What? I did this for this person? It really made it work? Well, hypnosis really works. And once you experience success, you know what happens? Nothing succeeds like success. It just keeps on going and going and going. And when you tell a person they can't lift their leg and it doesn't come up, I did it, I did it, I did it. I had a girl down in Maryland. What the heck, the city down there? No, it's in Maryland. Her name is Gail Weissert. And Gail was so afraid to use hypnosis. And she called me, we talked, and she came to my seminar in Jacksonville, Florida. And then she made the one in Philadelphia, and she made the one in Newark, New Jersey, made the one in Ocean City, and she's going to come to the one in Baltimore. But now she tells me how successful she is, and how easy it works, and how good it is. And she's doing for people that other therapies haven't been able to do in years. But she was hanging on the fence, didn't want to try it. Peggy's over here, the same thing. Peggy came to the one in Boston a couple years ago, hanging on the fence. I don't know if I can, I don't know if I'm good enough. Why not? You got it all in front of you, you got a whole script. Just read the damn thing if you want to do it. Just read it. Well, so she came up and spent a few days with me, worked with people, worked with her, and she got her old computer going and she got it all done, see? She's back here again today, see? And she's learning, and after tonight or Monday, Sunday or Monday and Tuesday, I'm going to spend some time with Peggy and her family, and she has some friends that want to bring her patients, and we're going to work together. So she's getting hands-on personal tutoring, see? And she's going to be good, because what she's got so far is super. See? She's got a good mind. She's been with yoga and all this other, which is concentration. And I wouldn't have any doubts or have any question about sending her a cancer patient. Matter of fact, she's been working with them for about 1.5 years, 2 years. First patient was a cancer patient. See? And I talked to her on the telephone. I said, this is what you do, this is what you do, this is what you do. I'll make a tape and send it to you. And she did. So it's not difficult. It's a matter of just getting acclimated to the language and to put yourself in a position where I can handle it. Hell, if that old man can do it, I can do it too. That's right. That's a theory I had when I was in 7th grade. Mrs. Young, or Miss Young, my algebra teacher, 60 years old, stood about 6'2", big long dress, you know, back then. And my first 3 weeks in algebra was a total disaster. I looked on the board and had X's and Y's and Z's, X equals 2. Where the hell did the 2 come from? There wasn't a 2 in the whole equation. I was bananas. So I got home one day, about 3 weeks after in the course, and I said, if the old lady can do it, I can do it better. And I sat down and said, yeah. It's like somebody opened up my head and poured it all in. Algebra for me, easiest thing in the world. There wasn't an equation I couldn't solve. 18 years later, my daughter says, Dad, you're so smart about algebra. We have one in school. And the sister says, I'm satisfied that nobody can work this equation out. But take it home and try it. And my daughter came and she says, would you figure this out? And I said, oh, Pat, I said, it's been years. But you see, up here I said, yes, I can. My little subconscious mind says, you jerk, if you think you can, we'll get it done. I said, Pat, let's go back a few pages. Went back a few pages, picked up a few of the steps that you take in reducing this equation. And I said, okay, now this is the next step, and this is the next step. And I said, okay, and now this is the next step. Oh, she says, that's the one we couldn't get. And worked it out. She called her friends, 10 girls in school. The sister said, who worked it out? And 10 hands go up. She says, oh, no, oh, no. Who worked it out and called everybody else? And she said, Pat. The sister says, well, Pat, how'd you do it? I asked my dad. Is your dad an accountant? She said, no. Well, how did he do it? He's just good. That was it. If you think you got it, made your problem worse. That's right. So learn how to pat yourself on the back and say, yeah, I'm as good as that old guy sitting up there or standing up there. I got more energy than he has. Yeah. Last night, my legs aren't so good. I didn't tell these people, did I? I had a knee replacement 19 years ago, thereabouts. They took out the knee and put in a prosthesis. They put in a false knee. Steel ball and a plastic cup. After 19 years, I wore it out. So last September, the doctor decided to put a new one in, and he did. And from the day of the operation, the knee got worse. For 5 months, I fought it. That big, swollen, full of fluid. One day I says, "Hey, doc, what's wrong with my leg?" He said, "I don't know." "You don't know?" I said, "Let's find out who does." Went to another orthopedic surgeon. Half an hour, he told me what was wrong, put it in the wrong size. So March 21st rather, 6 months after the operation, took the whole thing out and put a whole new one in. So as of last March, I've been walking on my third prosthesis. And it goes that far into my hip and that far into my shin bone. You had to split my shin bone to put it in there and wire it up again. See? So here I am now, a few months later, spending 3 days walking around. Up here, I feel good. No problem, no pain. Last night, when we went out for dinner, came home, crawled on the bed, and I couldn't move. Woke up this morning, feel like $1 million. Almost back to my old self. See? What happens? Because I think that's the way it is. Come on. Pat yourself on the back. Yeah, I can handle it. I can do it. It's easy. All you got to do is talk. How long you been talking? Chatter, chatter, chatter. All I say is, instead of chatter, chatter, go chitter, chitter, chitter. See? Change it just a little bit. So we're going to go on just a few more things I want to talk before we break. We talk about age regression. I said you go back in the library and walk down the aisle. Picture and imagine that you're sitting in the passenger seat of an automobile and you're riding down the highway. As a passenger, you look out the window and you pass the mile marker. Each mile marker you pass, you go back 1 year. As you pass each mile marker, this causes you to go back 1 year. 2 years? 5 months? You pick it. Picture and imagine you're sitting in a boat. And you're drifting along the shore. As you drift along the shore, as you pass the trees or the rocks, you take your pick. As you pass the trees. Each time you pass a tree, that causes you to go back, back, back. 1 year, 1 month. A rock, 1 year, 1 month. And when you come to mile marker 13, you travel into the 13th day, or whatever day you want to go to. Or if you want to do something, you're riding in this car and you're driving along. And the third hill you get to. When you go to the third hill, you go back into that day. And you're back there on a particular day that you want to go and visit. Walk along a nice trail in the woods. And when you walk along a nice trail in the woods, you're going to see an opening. And when you see the opening, just nod your head, yes, I see the opening. As you step into the opening in the woods, you step into that prior time. Show you the formula after a while. How to do all these things. Okay. Somebody said, what do you go to a prior life? Hey, how simple can we make it now? We have this aisle here with all these books. This is today, and yesterday, and the day before, and this is back farther and farther and farther. And the end of the bookshelf is your conception, the first beginning of your time. And where do you want to go? A prior life? Yeah. Now, I'll tell you what you do. When you get to the end of the bookshelf, walk around the bookshelf, you turn the left to the right, and there's a door. When you recognize the door, just nod your head, yes, I see the door. What's behind the door? A what? Another one? Who said what? No. That could be. When you open the door and you step through the doorway, you step into a prior life. Your next prior life, your first prior life, depending on how you want to designate it. And they step into a prior life. And you do have no idea what the prior life was like. So guess what? You don't tell them what's there. It's their prior life. Now, when they step to the prior life, you're going to say to me, or to them, I should say, would you like to share with me what you see? Tell me what you see is a no-no. Would you like to share with me about your prior life? Share it. Telling me I'm getting into your private life, sharing me allows you to talk to me. If they say no, that's it. Leave it. Now you're into a prior life. And says, all right, talk about the surroundings. What's there around you? Well, there's buildings, there's streets, there's a hill. Well, it might be. Well, there's some buildings there, yeah. All right, why don't you walk up to the building? Is a door in this building? Yeah. When you step through that door, you go into the next prior life. Or when you go around the corner, you step into the next prior life. And you take whatever might be there, a hill, a street, and you go into the next prior life. I had this one woman, she's in a castle. That's the next prior life. Oh, I says, castle? Well, I don't know. Is there any water around the castle? Oh, yeah, she says, all surrounded by water. Well, how does one get over the water? Well, there's a bridge that goes down. They pull it up when they want to go. Oh. Well, walk over there and see if the bridge is down. Bridge was down. I said, now when you walk over the bridge and as you step off the bridge onto the ground on the other side, you step into the next prior life. And like that, she was someplace else. Don't make it difficult. Do this, and this is what happens to you, and go ahead and do it. Then you ask, are you going to go to the next prior life? And they may say, no, I don't want to go. That's it. How about going into the future? We'll talk about that tomorrow. Okay. So going back into a prior life or going back in time in age regression, put them on a train, put them on a car, going past something which causes, as they go by, causes them to go back in time. You want to walk through a room, from one room to the other, go into different, doesn't make any difference. As long as you do something that causes something to happen. By the way, how's the baby? Have you called?
No, I've been in here the whole time.
Oh, didn't you call the mother?
Not yet.
Oh, okay. Call her this afternoon, come back and let us know how you did. All right. All right, it's 12 o'clock. Why don't we break for lunch? Did I have a 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock on there? What do you want to do? Stay till 12 or 1 o'clock and break out for lunch? Or you want to go now? Hands, who wants to break now? I guess we won. 1 o'clock, okay? Give us a little more time to get more things done. Sorry I'm a little bit late, but I had some phone calls I had to cut right back, and so we'll work a little bit later on after a while. But anyway, you know, it doesn't start till I get here. Okay, we'll talk about now about how to handle, identify problems. How do we do it?
Michael, I don't think your mic's on.
My mic is on.
How about the receiver? That may not be on.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the receiver's not on.
Are you with me now? Yes. That's better. All right. You remember I told you, if I haven't, all of your language must be in the present tense, especially the therapy. Must be in the present tense. Okay, how do you identify a particular problem? We discussed quite a bit about that in the library. Every problem has its own book, and every problem has its own title. So regardless of the problem that a person has, there is a book for that problem. And you keep the problem title as minimal as you can. We don't have any emotional disorders. Stress, anxiety, pain, cancer, drugs, alcohol. As short as you can. And when you tell them to go and find their problem, you identify the problem as stress, you spell out the words. You're emphasizing and closing in, focusing their attention on a particular title. Look on the not so nice side, and there is a problem book, and it has the title Stress, S-T-R-E-S-S. Take your time. When you recognize your stress problem book, nod your head, yes, I see my stress problem book. And I said yesterday, you reach up and take your stress problem off the shelf, and you hold your problem, your stress problem, in your hands. Now, of course, you have to explain once again what they're holding. Every past stressful experience they had in their whole lifetime. Every past stressful thought they had in their whole lifetime. All their past stressful feelings and emotions, their past stressful dreams and their fantasies. They're holding them in their hands. They said, I want to get rid of this problem. Look around on the floor of this aisle. You don't send them all over the library. On the floor of this aisle, there is a container. And when you recognize the container on the floor of this aisle, nod your head, yes, I see the container on the floor of this aisle. And when they nod their head, yes, you smile because you know you got them where they want to go. Take what? Your stress problem to the container, and you throw your stress problem into the container. You don't throw it in the container. I can't emphasize this enough. Well, you're going to use the word it and those and them over and again, and you're going to catch yourself. So I said what you do is go through this and make a tape of what you're doing. And then you get up here like I am, and you can critique yourself and says, boy, did I blow that one. Going to go over again. And you do it over again until you finally get it straightened out. All right? I always start off with the stress problem, no matter what they have. If it's smoking or pain or cancer, it's always a stress problem. Then you might want to look at another problem, like a fear problem. The more you can get before you get to the real problem, you're clarifying and more clear what they're doing. So look around, and yes, there is a fear problem book up there. I'll bet you everybody has had some fearful experiences, fearful thoughts, fearful emotions and feelings. What they're afraid of, be darned if I know, and I don't care. You reach up and take your fear problem off the shelf and hold it in your hands. What you're holding is every past fearful experience you had in your whole lifetime. If you take them back to the time you're about 3 years old, you say, how old were you? That last baby book, and 2 years old. Say, every fearful experience from 2 years old up to now, tie it in, is in this fear problem book. And so too included is with fear problems, emotions, fear thoughts, the past, all of the past. And some of these have a tendency to creep in today's and tomorrow's conduct and mess up today's and tomorrow's pleasures. So for you, what you're holding in your hand is no longer important for you in the light of today's circumstances. Why does it work? It's all true if it isn't rejected. You're right. You take your fear problem and you carry your fear problem to the container and you chuck the fear problem to the container. And so too with the smoking and the weight. You're taking past experiences, past thoughts, past emotions that cause them to do something today. So what you're doing, in essence, you're getting rid of their past programs. One is fear, one is stress, one is anxiety, one is an I can't. Getting rid of them. Cleaning house. You see, it makes it so much easier to put in the new program, the new ideas, the new conduct, the new emotions. So when you're throwing away all your problems, you have clean house. You don't have to worry about the subconscious mind having any rejection for those. All right? Person says, I'm afraid of an elevator. I go bananas in an elevator. Got a phobia. What is phobia? Pardon? Phobia is a fear. Fear of what? Fear of heights, so they got a different name. Fear of being left alone, fear of going outside in company, fear of driving over bridges, fear of elevators, fear of airplanes. So you see, the profession decided to get each one of these a whole new name. They got to make it difficult. So instead of saying fear of flying, they go on some big name. Fear of being outside, some big name. And you just say, hey, you're afraid of something. You got a fear. Off the shelf. And what do you say to them? That's in here. Let's say a man's afraid of an elevator. What would you say to that person?
Any experience that you've had in the past that has been fear of...
Don't go chatter all around the street. Come on, it's getting to be fast.
Any fear that you've had is in this book about elevators.
No, you're
Any
close.
fear that you've had in
You're
your
close.
book.
What would you say?
Me?
Yeah,
No idea.
fear of an elevator. What's in this book?
Experiences around the fear of the elevator.
What you're holding in your hand is every past fearful experience you had with an elevator. Make it easy. You're holding in your hand every pastful thought that you had, fearful thought about an elevator. You're holding in your hand every past fearful emotions and feelings that you had about an elevator. And you know some of these creep in today's and tomorrow's conduct. And you said, I want to get rid of my fear of the elevator. Hey, you got it right in your hand. That's it. So you take your fear problem, fear of the elevator, and all your fearful experiences, and you throw your fear into that container. Get rid of it. How easy can it get? You had it in your hands, you threw it away. So why don't you say, hey, that wasn't so bad. It was easy. If you want to add some emphasis, say, well, tell you what you do. You stand next to that container and you kind of rub your hands together and you do this and say, hey, I got rid of my problem. How easy was it? You throw the smoking problem into the container. You stand back a little bit and give the container a little kick. So go ahead and kick your smoking problem. You see what we can do? Add a little emphasis to it. Be creative. Get the person to think clearly, more distinct, and a little more self-assurance. So how do you get rid of a phobia? You see, I will guarantee, absolutely, and that's the only thing I'll guarantee, that I can get rid of any phobia that a person has. Absolutely. I don't care what a person's afraid of. One little problem book contains all of the fears that you're going to be with. So easy, yes?
What about, you said there were some difficulties which a person needed more than one session for,
Well, you may need more than one session, sure.
but sometimes people see you on multiple visits.
Let's not call them multiple, a few.
Okay, a few visits.
Multiple, you're talking about somebody else's therapy.
Do you do the library program each time?
Well, let's go back one more step. Everybody that I work with, I do an induction procedure, usually standing up when I do my suggestibility test. They're hypnotized before they ever sit in a chair. I bring my hand above the forehead. I said, you know, when I stood up here and I said, when I suggest relaxation, you do relax, I am now suggesting relaxation to you. And each and every time I suggest relaxation to you, cause your eyes to go tight and eyelids heavy. As I lower my hand close to your forehead, cause your eyes to go progressively more tired. Eyelids heavy, heavy with relaxation. Before my hand touches your forehead, your eyelids do close and you do relax pleasantly and comfortably. Then I bring my hand down. I ask them to think about their arms. I've already been creating a little bit mental disorientation. So while they're thinking about the arms, the hand comes in, occupy their space, and eyelids close. I do the counting backwards. I do the first the progressive relaxation. I do that little bit of orientation about how you're going to feel. I do the counting backwards from 100. I take everybody into the classroom. I take everybody into the library. I don't care what the treatment is. These steps are always the same. Okay?
So
Everybody goes to the library. Now what?
So, if the reason that they see you for 3 or 4 visits perhaps is the same reason, do they have the same book on the shelf?
No.
Is it in the container?
There's other reasons why I see them.
Okay.
Up to this point, everybody goes through the same program. So,
Each successive visit, do they
I know. You're talking about the second and third. What do we do then? I'll tell you about those. But everybody gets to the library. Everybody takes the problems off the shelf. Everybody throws the problems away. So there is a book for every problem. You got a pain book, got a cancer pain, a drug book, you name it, I got it. Does that make it easy? Yes?
So can you throw out a book of all your fears, or does it have to be one by one each fear?
Every fear that you ever had in your whole lifetime. Every one of them.
Okay, so it's not just,
Including the one we're talking about. Okay? All right. You have one book with fear. All of your fearful thoughts, all of your fearful experiences, all of your fearful emotions and feelings. Every fearful experience. Lock, stock, and garbage. Okay? And so too for all of your smoking experiences, all of your smoking thoughts, and all of your smoking emotions, and all of the rape and all of the drugs and all of the alcohol. I don't have to find a separate book for every event. This includes them all. Yes?
If the client comes in for 3 specific fears, you name those 3 plus all the others.
I don't name any, except the ones they talk about.
Okay, so if they come in with the 3, name those, and then add all other fears.
This includes everything, all the fearful, including the ones you were talking about, fearful of heights, fearful of elevators, fear of your mother-in-law, or fear of your father, or fear of fishing, fear of water, whatever it may be. It's in here. All of it in here. All inclusive. Okay? All inclusive. Every bit of it. Make sense to you now? All right. You see how easy it's going to be? And you're going to find fear experiences that they didn't even talk to you about. And you're getting rid of them. I told you, when you get rid of their problems, you're going to change their whole life for the better. All right? You had your hand up.
I still don't understand the question that if it doesn't take for some reason and that client returns,
Well, which one are you talking about? This one or the one before?
well, the elevator. But she asked if that client must come back a second time or a third time, do you do the library again and take the book off again, or is there another procedure to
We handle it differently. Okay. We'll show you how to get that. Yours? That's the same thing. Yours?
I wonder when you sit down and get to know the client, or if there's a
Yeah.
reputation procedure, and there's no need to establish a rapport, history and whatever, get them confident in your authority. You don't have to do that. They come in, they're standing up and you
Okay. We'll take time after a while. What do we do in the initial visit? How do we talk to them? What do we do with them? The first visit. Okay. Yes?
At what point do you have them decide to tear out page by page rather than just throw the whole book in the
Okay. We'll get to that. Quick.
What about the simple fears? I'm still afraid of walking across the street in New York City against the light.
If that's your fear, it's in here.
It's in there, okay.
Yeah. You may not tell me about it, but it's in there. It's in there. Your subconscious mind knows everything. It's fearful. Your experiences, thoughts, it's all here.
But I feel I need that fear when I walk across the street in New York City.
Why do you have to have fear? Just move your legs a little faster. Dodge, shift the taxis.
That's what I do.
Yeah, all right. Fear, you see, has a tendency to cloud up your conscious awareness, your thinking pattern. All right. Yes?
Well, then you're identifying fear problems to get rid of, not fear in general, which could be protected.
We do both. Maybe I get, well, if I can understand it. This problem that has the title fear holds every fearful experience that you ever had in your whole lifetime. Okay? Every fearful thought that you ever had in your whole lifetime. Every fearful emotions and feelings you had in your whole lifetime. Including the ones that you and I are now talking about. So we take care of the ones that they came in for. And you're handling all the others that the person themselves at this particular time may not consider a problem. All right? And we're going to throw all of them away. We're not really creating amnesia. What we're doing is making that unimportant. You see, if the fear is important, you develop the emotion. So when you minimize the events and the thoughts and so forth, you reduce the emotion about it. Yes, sir? Back there.
What about those fears that are perhaps healthy, like being afraid of crossing a difficult highway?
They're healthy?
Yes.
Aren't you better off logically in thinking about, I'm going to watch this car over here and watch this car over here, and I'm not let fear get me because fear is going to mess up my thinking.
I'm not sure that I understand that. Isn't this
You're afraid to go across the street because you might get knocked down.
Or I'm afraid of an atomic bomb dropping on me, so I stay out of its way, or something like that. I mean, there are fears that we use to survive by. If we weren't afraid of certain certain things, then
I have to dispute that.
okay, that's fair.
Yeah. We are afraid that something is going to happen to us, and we have no control over what we do. I'm afraid to get in an elevator. I'm afraid to get in an airplane because yesterday that damn airplane fell down and killed 20 people. And I don't know about that. I'm afraid of what? Something in the future that may never even exist or take place.
Well, if somebody's standing in front of me with a gun and threatening to kill me, and I'm not afraid of that, I may in fact get killed because I don't act appropriately.
Why do you have to be afraid in order to act rationally?
That may be a very good question. I don't know.
You see, your subconscious mind is there to get you to do what's necessary to keep you alive. Your hand was up, put it down. Okay. I said before, when you put your hand up, I'll look at you, put your hand down, I'll call you when I'm ready. So don't keep waving at me, because you know what that does? It disturbs my train of thought, and the hair on the back of my head stands up. All right. I'd like to get off my shoulders what I had to say to the person who gave me a question, so I can stay with that and stay with it. Then I'll get back to somebody else. All right. I told you we're going to run into some difficulty when we come into treatment. Everybody's got their own idea how it should be handled. This is the way I've done it for years, and I don't know if you're right. I say, listen to me. Take what I give you. When you leave here, throw it away or use it. All I can do is teach you what I've been doing, why I've been doing it, how I've been doing it, and how successful I've been. You have to understand that when a person is here in deep state of hypnosis, whatever I tell that person is true, unless they say no. If they interpret my suggestion as being a detriment, they're going to say no. But if they interpret my suggestion, if I'm clear enough and concise, as being beneficial, they're not going to argue with me. And I'm sneaking all these things in. And I'm laying that foundation for all the good stuff that follow after a while. You see, all we're doing now is getting rid of the problems. We haven't done any therapy yet. That's right. We got rid of the old problems. Now we have to create new programs in. You had your hand up?
I have forgotten, but I would like to say I was in the process of raising my hand when you jumped on that.
Okay.
I did not have it up and there's no
All right.
Well, I would like an apology for it.
Pardon?
I would like an apology.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. But there was a few around here earlier. They're going like this. I look and I look, and they're still up there, you see. Okay, so my remark wasn't directed to you primarily. It's to everybody. So I'm sorry. If I offend anybody here, I'm sorry. I don't intend to do that, you see. And sometimes I'll make a remark about something, and it'll be interpreted like I'm prejudiced about something, and they get their dander up too. And I made a remark one time in Seattle about something, and the girl said, "You shouldn't have said that." I said, "Did I say that? Did you interpret it as being detrimental?" "No, but you shouldn't have used the word." I said, if the word offended you, in the context it was used, I'm sorry. So sometimes I kind of get my little dander up a little bit, see. I told you, some of you are going to think I'm crazy, I'm nuts, you're going to hate me. But I try to be as good as I can. And if I get offhand sometimes, somebody says you're, stern and strong and pushy. And I'll say, it gets to the point sometimes when we go over the thing over and over again and keep asking me the same question, like I say, on Sunday I say, where you been for the last 2 days? Weren't you listening to me? See? And what are we doing? We're taking up time of all the other people because somebody wasn't paying attention. So, all right. So if it comes to that point, bear with me, okay? Again, I say I'm sorry. All right, yes?
The consecutive visits, could that be because...
What?
When somebody comes back for more than one visit?
Yeah.
Is it because they think that they haven't made the decision to maybe deal with one of these?
Not necessarily so.
Okay.
There's reasons for second and third and fourth visits. Okay. We're talking about the first visit. We'll get into the second. We'll get into the third. We'll get into the therapy. Okay. We haven't touched it yet. Okay? Some people are not motivated enough And you have to kind of convince them. All right.
Michael, I'm getting a little frustrated with all the questions. Would it be possible to kind of hold the questions till later and get into the...
Well, we did that in Philadelphia. It got to the point where there was more questions, more answers. I try to hold the group at 50. We got a few more than 50, but like 53, 54, see? In Philadelphia, it had 69. And finally on Saturday night, I says, this is it. I've answered all the questions you're going to raise, and tomorrow there'll be no questions for the whole day. Because we're going to get through my program, and then if we have time, you got some questions, I'll answer it after we're all done. So please bear with me then, no more questions. So, but this group has been pretty nice. There hasn't been too much distraction. I think most of the questions, if not all the questions, were interesting questions. They were questions that somebody put out, and probably a few more had the same idea, but they just kind of didn't want to ask. So I think the questions are good, and they should be answered. If it's with them, it's a problem. They should take care of it then. All right. If it gets out of hand, then I'll just say, okay, that's it. That's why I started off with on first day, if you have a question, it's on something we're talking about, not something we haven't discussed, you see. That's where we're trying to tie it into our conversation. We don't get too far away. All right. Let's get back to this nice little place. So every problem has its own book, and understand what's in that book. Every book in this library holds the same thing. And what does the book hold? What does a book hold? What?
Thoughts, feelings, and experiences.
That's right. Every book holds the same thing. They hold experiences, they hold thoughts, emotions and feelings, fantasies and dreams. Of what? Different times, different items, different things. But they're all the same, generally speaking. Thoughts, experiences, emotions, and feelings. And so what are you doing by throwing your problem away, by identifying what's in this particular thing? You're minimizing all of it. All of what? All of their experiences, all of their thoughts, all their feelings, emotions, as it relates to that titled problem. Do you have to go into everything in detail? No way. You save all that time. Save it all. You throw the whole thing lock, stock, and garbage. And it's gone. No longer important. From that session to the time of beginning. All right. Okay. Pain. How do we get rid of the damn pain? How many ways would you like? What is pain? Somebody want to tell me what a pain is besides the butt? Come on, what's pain? It's your body telling you something's wrong. Is it your body telling you something wrong? Or is it an area telling your brain that something wrong down here, over there? Is that what it is? Well, what is pain? Pain is an emotion. But how do you identify pain as being something specific? It's a message. It's a message from one part of your body to the brain, telling the brain that we got a problem down here. Send something down here and fix it. Please. I got a problem. I have a dysfunction or malfunction. I have an injury. I got something down here that isn't right. So you don't take the message of pain away until first you identify the cause of the message. And if you're not a physician, send the person to a physician or someone who can identify the particular problem. Because if you take the pain away, the message away, and the problem still exists, the cause still exists, you might create some additional problems. So say, hey, You've been to your physician? Has the cause for this pain been identified? Yeah. Who did you see? And then you mark it down on a nice piece of paper. That's who they said they went to visit. And if it's something that is identifiable, that's real there, it's been there for a long time, like a pain in the stomach, and it hurts, you say, go see your doctor, and let's get it identified. Because all that is a message from here to there that this part is not functioning properly. That's all it is. After you have discovered, or after the person has discovered the cause of the message, and it's being taken care of, subsequent messages are messages of harmless pain. Serves no useful purpose. See? You know what it is. Why do you have to keep telling you about it? And every day I read in the paper, they're going to get $20 million to educate people about AIDS. Educate them. They're saying, don't go to bed with somebody because you might get it. How many times must they say this? Every day, every hour, every classroom, year in and year out? Are we our brother's keeper to that extent? Hey, if I say, you know what? You go to bed with somebody, you don't protect yourself, and you don't stay away from somebody, chances are you're going to kill yourself. Choice is yours. I got to come back tomorrow and tell them again, and again and again? No. You got the message that there's something wrong someplace. So let's take care of the message. So you got the person in the nice little library, and you tell that person, hey, in a moment I'm going to have you walk around in this library, and when you walk around, there is, not that you will find, there is a telephone that's off the hook. Now you know when a telephone's off the hook, it goes bzz, bzz, bzz. It's a message from one place to the other. It's a message. So I'm going to ask you to go, and when you find the telephone, you put the telephone back on the hook or back on the cradle, and as you do so, this causes the message of pain to terminate. And they pick up the telephone and they drop it in the cradle, and guess what? The pain in the back is gone. And somebody says, can't be so. And I say, oh yeah. Or you can say, in that nice little library, there's an electrical box with switches in it. And the switches are identified. There's a switch for your arms, and switch for your legs, switch for your back, switch for your head and your neck. Especially a switch for the problem that they particularly have, location. Now you understand what the electrical box does. It allows a message of electricity to go from there to the light. And when you turn it off, the message is terminated. And you've got a switch that terminates the message from your back to your brain. So walk around, and when you recognize the electrical box, just nod your head, yes, I see the box. That's fine. Open the cover, and now there they are, the switches. Now you find the one that says back. And when you find the one that says back, just nod your head, yes, I see it. All right. Now I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to count from 1 to 3 or 4. Count to 20. I'm going to count to 20. And when I count 20, you flip that switch and you terminate the message of pain. Where do I start? 1?
No.
Where?
15.
17, 18, 19, 18, 19, 20. Person expect you to count from 1. You fool them. A little disorientation again. 18, 19, 20. Shut it out. That's it. You may be 100% successful, Maybe not. You'll be at least 60% successful. Then you might have to use they might use the electrical box, and you might have to use the telephone for the residual messages. Or you might want to do something else and rub them on the shoulder, rub on the back of the neck. As I gently massage the back of your neck, causes the residual latent pain that's there, the discomfort, to slowly spread through your body and dissipate out through the vents, the pores in your skin. So the second session, you may have to work with that another little way. Maybe the third session. Now you have to understand that the bookshelf holds all of the books from the day of the treatment to the beginning. When they leave, they're going to have additional thoughts, additional emotions and feelings. And they may put another book up there that has the same title. So you come back the second time and says, yeah. Ask them what they thought about, what they said and how they felt and so forth. Says, okay. When you teach self-hypnosis, we're going to take care of the rest of this stuff. But if you don't teach self-hypnosis, you don't do it between this time, tell what you do, walk back down the aisle again and look around, see if there's another pain book up there. If the first one is big, the next one is that small. They come in sizes, depending upon what's in it. The second one, if it gets back up again, is much smaller than the first one. You'll ask him, how big was it? Ah, teeny little thing. Hardly was there. We get rid of that problem. We don't throw the problem the second time, don't throw them in a container because the container is gone. Throw it out the window. Do something different. All right, we're going to identify some of these things a little bit closer. Okay. If you have a small pain that's not very difficult, you can say to the person, hold your hands out from your shoulders straight out. Picture and imagine that you're holding your back pain in one hand as a balloon. You're holding the balloon. Get the balloon a color if you like. And imagine on the other hand you're holding a balloon which is pain in some other place. You know what you do when you let go of the balloon. When you let go, that causes your pain. We make the conversion. It causes your pain to elevate higher and higher and higher, and you watch it, your pain drift all the way up into the sky and disappear. And it's gone. I will do with someone here a different kind of a therapy to give her a pain. Demonstration. But you can do all these little things just by images without having to go through any physical contact or so forth. All right? So be creative. You can get the pain to be identified any way, anyhow. A nice, easy way. Picture and imagine you're holding the pain in one hand. Give that pain identity. Any kind of identity you want to give it. Any kind. Let them decide what it is. Don't say a rock or something. And in the other hand, put yourself, imagine you're holding your pain in the other hand, another kind of a pain. And I'm going to count to 25, and I count 25. You smash those two together hard as you can. You smash your hands together holding, and you destroy both of your pain into tiny little pieces that disappear in the dust. 20, 21, 22, get ready, 24, clap them together. And then bang them, and all their pain just smashed away. Gone.
Do they physically do that?
No, with their mind. Okay? Physically do something. Don't be surprised what some of these people do. Anticipate the unexpected. Several years ago, I said to the person, with the chalk you're holding in one hand, slowly and carefully, write the letter A on the blackboard. With the eraser you have, slowly and carefully erase the letter A from the blackboard. Right in front of them, they're doing this. Take your problem off the shelf, and they reached up and took their problem off the shelf, and they threw their problems always into the same direction, into the container, and tear up your problems, and they tore them up, and they threw them in the same direction, and threw the cover in there. And I'm thinking, that's pretty good. Mentally and physically, they're actually participating in doing what I asked them to do. I wasn't concerned about it. I thought they did a pretty good job. Sometimes, when they take their problems off the shelf, and they know what the problem is, women especially have a tendency to cry. They'll look over there, oh my God, and the tears start coming down. Let them cry. If they cry a little bit more and harder than you want them, you say, tell me, Mary, do you have a problem with the library and what you're doing? I didn't know my problem was so close to me. You see, they know what's in that problem book. So talk to them. You want to leave or you want to stay there and get rid of your problems? I'll stay here, crying like the dickens. And pretty soon you'll see I reach over and I got a nice little box of Kleenex. And I take a couple off and I walk over, put it in the hands, says, here. You're not the first nor the last to cry in this chair, so it's all right. Go ahead and wipe your eyes. And they wipe their eyes and blow their nose and everything's fine. Most people just say, well, you know, disturb their train of thought. And hey, that's okay. All right. So we'll work on that pain after a while. You take everybody back as far as you want to go back with them. You don't have to identify each event, each thought. You got it all bundled together, nice and even. Out. Now we get into a territory where we might get a little discussion. How about multiple personalities? Boy, oh boy. That's a hard one to handle. Because first what you have to do, you have to integrate all the personalities into the host, and then you have to kind of get rid of everything else. And you got to go through all of the, not only the personalities, but the problem that personality has been identified with. So let's assume, for example, for our purposes, the host is Mary. And let's say Mary is 27, 28 years old. Mary is going to create a multiple, and let's call this one June. And June is going to be responsible for certain conduct. Let's call June the alcoholic. And then Mary's going to create, let's call Helen. And she's the one that has a lot of promiscuity sex. You name it, she does it. Okay. Who else which she might want to create and a particular conduct? Your past experiences. Small hurt child. What's her name? Josie? Okay. So now we got Josie. Orphanage in there. And this is hurt child. Anybody else?
Angry, homicidal.
What's her name?
Anne.
Anne? Now we got Anne, and she's an angry person. Anybody else?
Susie, hostile, or paranoid.
Susie. All right. As many as you like. I don't care. What are we going to do with Mary? You're going to hypnotize her. Take her to the library. What's on the not so nice side? What's on the not so nice side?
Books of alcohol, paranoia.
Her problems. What's her problem? She's got 5 problems. And she may have problems she doesn't even know about. Now, the strange thing about this whole setup is that Jane or June and Anne may know each other, and they don't know the rest of them. Mary may know Sue and Helen, but doesn't know Josie. So we got all kinds of extensions out there of the same person. We don't have to bring them all in and bring them all together because, you see, physically speaking, they're all together. And we have only one mind that we're working with. Oh, touching on somebody's toes. Everybody say, wait, well, hold on, that's not how we do it. Well, I'll show you how to do it. You find a June problem book and you throw June out the window. And Mary becomes the alcoholic. She is anyway, but in a different identity. And then you find the alcohol book and you throw that away. And you take these one at a time, the name and the identity of what they do, and they're all gone. And you say, you got to be kidding me. You just can't do it that way. And I say, oh, yes, we can. Yes, we can. We're cleaning Mary's thoughts, nobody else's. We're getting rid of one identity, another identity, and says, oh, you get rid of that one, somebody else pops up. That's fine. You go back and get rid of what popped up. Yes?
We have to make sure that it's Mary, the host personality, that we're hypnotizing them, and not one of
Yes,
the
it's the same one. Yeah. She says, do we have to make sure it's Mary, the personality we're hypnotizing? That's who you're hypnotizing. Don't get confused by those different identities, because it is the same brain, it is the same mind with a little projection stuck in there. It's like taking needles and putting them in. You're taking the needles and throwing them away. Yes?
This is fine, and I really like the idea, but how about if the person does not know that she has all these different people, which happens a lot?
Question is, what about the person that doesn't know all these? Show you how to handle that. Okay. So we're taking care of those known, identified, and the conduct. And you're cleaning house. And then what you say to the individual after you get rid of all problems, I don't know, maybe you got some more problems you're not quite sure of. So I'll tell you what you do. You go back to the not so nice side and you look around. Every problem you ever had in your whole lifetime has its own book. And every problem has its own title. I'm not going to ask you about the titles of your problems. Go and clean house. And you'll be surprised. They may take out 15 books, may clean the whole shelf. Lock, stock, and barrel, the shelf and the books and everything. And when you're all through, just nod your head, yes, I'm through, and we'll continue. And we're in no hurry. And I'm not going to ask you to tell of your problems. And you sit and you wait, and you wait, and you wait. Sometimes you wait 10 seconds, 30 seconds. Sometimes you'll wait 10 minutes. And you might just say, no hurry. You're still throwing your problems away? That's fine. Keep on going. Keep on going. No hurry. You see what they're doing? They're thrown away. They're associated to symptom-producing events. They're associated symptom-enhancing events and thoughts and so forth. All the stuff that has multiplied in there, you're getting rid of all of those associated things. I had a woman come to see me. Her son brought her in. They're walking, they're taking an elevator down in the bank building. And as they're going down, the woman screamed. And she zipped up the escalator, outside, out through the door, and sat out in the park surrounding the bank, screaming and hollering. And the son says, "What's the matter, Mother?" She says, "I don't know. But something made me scream in that when I was going down the escalator." And he said, "Let's go see Dr. Preston." Brought her in. This bank has the main lobby in the basement. The tellers are there. And there's shops. And sometimes they have displays there. Christmas time, they may have 30 or 40 Christmas trees. They're decorated different. German decorations, Swedish decoration, English decorations, French decorations. You'd be surprised how different they look. This time they had paintings all over the walls and every place. Paintings that had been reproduced 1,000,000 times or more. You know, commercial paintings, not, you know, Van Goghs or Van Goghs, we don't call them. So I hypnotized the mother, and I says, back down the escalator. And what did you see that upset you? See that damn picture. I said, "What picture?" "Well, it's sitting right on the wall. I went by it. I looked up and I saw the damn thing." Describe the picture. When was a time before this that you saw it? When I was 10 years old, I'm lying on the couch, and my neighbor is trying to molest me. And I look up, and that picture is up there. And when she went down, she saw that picture, she took a flashback to 10 years old, and all she could do is run away. And I said, the picture is no longer important. It never has been important. It's the least important thing in your whole life. A lousy damn picture sitting up there that some guy decided to paint. She says, "You're right." I said, "Next time you see it," I said, "it has no effect upon you, none whatsoever. As a matter of fact, when you see it, cause you relax pleasantly and comfortably." Short little session. Got back in the car, we went back to the bank, and she got on the escalator and she said, "That damn picture doesn't scare me anymore," and went on her way. So I asked you to go ahead and go back and look. If you got any more problems sitting up there, take your problems off the shelf and throw your problems in the container. Should you need another container, look around. There's all the containers you're going to need. You'd be surprised. This one might even grow for you. And you throw your problems in, out they go. And they're gone. So what we're doing, we're getting rid of all of these. You may not do it in one session. Chances are you won't. You bring it back for another session. And you might bring them back for another. You take care of one multiple and another multiple and the problems and another multiple problems. You keep bringing them in. And when you bring them in, you know, another one might pop up. You got to work on that one. You see? So eventually what you do is you clean Mary of all of her multiples and all of her problems. Yes?
She needs one of these people.
She doesn't need any.
You don't know?
Some people say, well, they're good and you need them. And I say, you don't need them. You need yourself. You don't need something else. Mine doesn't mix with yours. You tell me I'm nuts, I won't argue with you. Yes?
Doesn't this imply from what you just said, the subconscious mind, it has unification, has a sense of unity? Because otherwise, the split would be, the reason people would be afraid of this concept is because they're still believing that there's a split in the subconscious mind, right?
Who's the they that believe it? Therapist or the individual?
Therapist.
Oh, well, that's right. A therapist may have different concepts of how to handle this, and different beliefs from their past experiences and their past thoughts and information and their past learning. And I say, this is where I've had the biggest problem. And I did a seminar in Portland, Oregon. And in Portland, Oregon, they had all kinds of cult programming. I mean, the communities, 10,000. A program after a program after a program. They multiply these programs. And the last program is that if you ever tell anybody about what we did here today, then you go and kill yourself. How do you like that? Program after program after program. And I said, hey, that's nice. You got a cult book. What's in the cult book? Every program, from the first to the last. You're throwing all of your programs out. Oh, you can't do that. You can't do that. I said, do me a favor. Try it. Work at it. See how well you get. But you got to follow my steps. You got to get them down to into that library. You got to do what I do. You have to use the language like I do. Keep it in the present tense. And you'll be surprised. I had a woman up there by the name of Sophia. Sophia worked in a clinic that had 27 therapists. And they all did it differently. And she came in, you know, she's, oh, I don't know. So she's tried it. And already she had some success. And she had another one. She said, hey, it's successful, it works. I want to come back down and see you and do some more work with you. So she came down to Phoenix and spent a week with me. We worked nothing but cult programming. And she went back and she trained all the people up there, and they do more business in that clinic than the whole state of Oregon. That's right. Successfully, too. So I say, don't make it difficult. You got a problem in your hand, throw the problem away. They may not want to throw that problem away. Now we got a problem with that. I had a woman come in and quit the cocaine. I got it down. I says, find your coke. There's a cocaine book over there. You came here and you said, I got a cocaine problem. So you have a cocaine problem book sitting up on a shelf. Go and you find your cocaine problem book. When you recognize your cocaine problem book, nod your head, yes, I see my cocaine problem book. Repetition, repetition, repetition. Hammer it in. And she did. I said, reach up and take that cocaine problem off the shelf. She said, oh, I can't. I said, why not? She said, when I reach for it, I jump to the next shelf. Another new one for me. I said, well, reach up there. And then she says, I can't reach that high. Go get a chair. Look around, there's a chair in your library. And she did. She said, oh, no. I said, what's the matter now? She says, way up on the top. I can't reach it. Oh, I said, we'll take care of that. Got to be creative. All of a sudden, the book is up there. How do I get it down? I said, tell you what you do. You stand below the book on the floor. You stand there with your arms out. I'm going to count to 10, and I'm going to clap my hands. When I clap my hands, I said, causes the book fall off the shelf in your hands. 8, 9, 10. She's got it like this here. I said, quick, over to the container, throw it away. Is it gone? She said, no. Drop it. I can't. Drop it. I said, do me a favor, will you? You don't want to drop it. Do me a little favor. Hold the cocaine problem over the container. When it's there, just nod your head. Yes, it's there. Nod her head. I said, all right. I'm going to count 15. When I count to 15, that cocaine problem gets so hot it burns your fingers, you got to let go. 14, 15. And she dropped it. Is it gone? Yeah, it's gone. Yeah. You see, you may get some resistance in throwing these problems away. Do something about it. You may have to get them back the next time and work on it. Maybe you got to think about it. What do I do next? Let me tell you what a surprise it's going to be. When you have a problem and you're looking for the solution, your subconscious mind is going to feed it to you. Unexpected. Is that right? You bet. Peggy's experienced that. I said, you're going to find this. You get involved in something. You say, where do I go from here? And you just leave it alone, and all of a sudden the wheels begin to turn, and it feeds you all this information. I had one of my students came, she called, she says, boy, did I get in a jam. I didn't know what the hell I was going to do. She says, you know, I was just thinking about it, and all of a sudden, the light came on. I found the answer. And the same thing for me. I get in a jam sometime. Where do I go from here? What the hell did I do this for? And all of a sudden comes the answer. One more thing. If you're going to say something, and the sixth sense says, don't say it. Shut up. Don't say it. It's telling you, that's a no-no. Stay away from it. Or if you say, I'm going to say something, you say, that's okay. Then you go ahead and say it. But your subconscious mind is going to tell you, don't say it. And now you got to listen. Yes?
On some of the memories, does the subconscious ever come in and say, I'm not going to let this come up to the consciousness because it's just too frightening for this person? Does it ever not come up?
Does the subconscious mind let it come up to the conscious awareness?
From a trauma.
If the event is so traumatic that it may shake the person up, you may not be able to identify it or get to it. Because your subconscious mind is there primarily to protect you. And how do you handle it differently? You talk to the person and say, hey, this is yesterday's experiences. What can you do about it today? You can't go back and change what you did 10 seconds ago, or what you thought about 10 seconds ago. You can go back and change what you did 10 minutes ago, 10 days ago, 10 months ago, 10 years ago. What's done is done. And since you did it, and you don't like what you did, may I suggest that you say to yourself, I forgive you. You didn't know what you were doing. Came out of the book, didn't it? Yeah, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. You didn't know what you were doing. So just forgive yourself. You're talking to the subconscious mind, which is an extension of the Almighty. It's your immortal soul. You're saying, hey, forgive me for what I did. What a stupid jerk I was. I really didn't know what I was doing when I did it. So would you do me a favor? Would you forgive me? How many times you walk around and you forgive everybody else that you like to forgive, but you ever sit down and say, hey, I forgive myself for being such a jerk? We don't take time to look after ourselves. Not enough time. It's a problem. You did something you didn't like. You experienced something. You were involved in it. May not be your fault. Maybe somebody else's. So why don't we forgive everybody that participated?
So, one more on the same line.
Yeah.
So was the subconscious mind in that one where the cocaine person was not mind that was saying, I'm not ready to deal with this? And
No, she wasn't motivated enough to get rid of it.
But you still pushed through it to see if you could?
I did,
See if it was
yeah.
possible. And if it wasn't at a certain point, you'd say, okay, you're ready.
I'd have her come back when she was motivated.
Yeah.
But she was motivated enough to come in, and of course I was a little pushy with her. Yeah. And I says to her, each and every time you just think, we get into the therapy, each and every time you just think about taking cocaine, the very thoughts causes you to feel upset, frustrated, nauseated. The more you think, causes you to become more progressive and nauseated, more and more. And each time you think, oh, I don't use cocaine anymore, I don't do cocaine, cocaine's not for me, those very thoughts cause you to feel so wonderful, so pleasant, so peaceful, like you drank the most soothing and satisfying, the most refreshing liquid. So she and her boyfriend got into a little tiff about a few things. He paid for the therapy. She was going to fix him. She's going back to cocaine. Picked up the telephone and dialed the supplier. And she got sick. And dialed again and got sicker. And dialed again. And by the time she had the number dialed, she's sick to the stomach. And the guy says, hey, hello. She heaved all over that telephone. She put it on. She went, oh, God. She called me up. She said, I heaved, I heaved. I says, what's your problem? She told me about it. See? I said, I told you. Your subconscious mind is there to keep you alive and healthy. And says, we're not going to let you take this anymore. That's right. So anytime she tried to take it, she's got miserably sick. So all you got to do is say, hey, I don't do cocaine anymore. It's not for me. And she felt like $1 million. I had a woman come in who was on heroin for 10 years. Heroin. Twice a day she knocked herself out. Punctured from here to here and all the way through. Between her toes and her knees and everything was just blue. All black and blue. And she got down on that recliner of mine, and I had her take that heroin problem, throw it away. And I did some therapy with her. And I said, now, just relax. I said, as a matter of fact, you're going to stay in that chair, deeply relaxed, because nobody ever can awaken you but me. I don't use the word awaken too often. And her boyfriend was there. 4.5 hours she laid in there like she was dead. I went and got a blanket and I put it over her because make her feel comfortable. Finally, as she opened her eyes, and I went in there, I had her open her eyes, she looked at me, she says, oh my God, she says, do I feel good? And I says to her, why would you take heroin if you can feel so good doing this? She says, never again. Never again. I could never feel so good with the heroin. She never did. On the way to the hospital one day, I stopped in to pay. I called her. I said, stop in. Stopped in. I did a session with her on the couch. And while I'm there, oh, she had a beeper too. The supplier always beeped her in the morning and the afternoon. Says, time, time, time. Kept remembering her, see. So we got rid of the beeper. So I was there, walked in, and the telephone rang. I said, hello. He said, I'll talk to Maria. Mexican accent. I say, you supply? Who talk to? I said, I'm the police department and this whole thing is monitored. You call again, I'll have you jailed. Wham with the telephone and away he was gone. Never called back again. But the suppliers are just as bad as the users, sometimes worse. All right.
A question about the multiple personalities. Do you find personalities who are not the host, who are resources for that particular individual, and if so, how do you approach those?
What do you mean by a resource?
Maybe there's another person other than Mary, whose name is Jane, who is very
A nice person, congenial,
nice,
energetic.
congenial, responsible, could be anything, but that Mary doesn't do that particular part unless Jane kicks in.
Yeah.
What do you do with that?
Get rid of the part.
Just
Integrate the emotions and feelings that the host assigned to somebody else. Put it back into you. If it's a good thing, if it's a joyful, energetic, let's call this one May. And May is the energetic. She has the energy. And she's the happy one. She's always smiling. Do we want to get rid of this? No. We get rid of this. This becomes integrated back in here because this one, put this one here to take care of this. This one, assign this to this one. So when we get rid of the multiple, we're sending this back where it came from.
Automatically?
Automatically.
So you don't have to bring it back. You don't have to.
Up to now, we're getting rid of the problems. Getting rid of the problems, from my view, is not the therapy. The therapy is, what do I say to that person that causes the person to act from today on? We just got rid of the problems. Now we're going to get into the therapy. Yes?
I missed something. On the problem with the cocaine,
Yeah?
you gave a post-hypnotic suggestion if she wished cocaine in the future. Did you talk in future tense then?
I say if she ever thinks about putting cocaine in her body, her very thoughts cause her to feel nauseated in the present tense. All right? Okay. So far, what we've done is clean house. We got rid of the garbage that's been in there. How did they get in? I don't know, and frankly, I don't care. You see, this person could have created it, or when she was in emotional stress, someone else made a remark, or she had a thought, or there was an input that got in here. Everybody, I said to somebody this morning, everybody that goes see a physician, a therapist, a counselor, to some degree is in a state of stress. The more traumatic the condition, the deeper the stress, the deeper the state of hypnosis. So if a person goes to see a doctor and he's got a cold, he's stressful a little bit, not too much. Person goes see the doctor and he says, I got pain in my stomach, and the doctor says, yeah, he says, I've been following you and your wife's been telling me about it. I think you've got a problem with your appendix. May have to take it out, maybe not. But he's gone to see the doctor several times. He did some serious tests on him and goes back in to get the results of the test. And the doctor says, sit down, I want to talk to you. I got the result of the test. Don't look so good. This guy is smiling. Is he happy? Totally depressed. Deep state of hypnosis. I'm sorry to tell you, but you got colon cancer. It has metastasized into your liver, your pancreas, and we can't help you. So why don't you go home and enjoy the few months you got left. Take care of your personal things. The guy says, give it to me, I can take it. Well, I expect you to last maybe 12 months. Yeah, 12 months, and he goes bananas. And guess what? I'll go to Vegas, and I'll make book. In 12 months, he's dead. He just gave him the kiss of death. He said, you're dead in 12 months, in a state of hypnosis. The subconscious mind said, brain, we got 12 months to kill him. That's right. There was an article in Life magazine a couple of years ago, I guess, the lucky ones. The lucky ones were never told that they had cancer, and they survived. That's right. One had cancer, they call it oat cell cancer. Oat cells are the fastest growing cancer cells. And the doctor didn't want to tell the guy because he figured he got 5 weeks to live. He said, there's nothing I can do for you. It doesn't seem to be anything that I can handle, so don't worry about it, go home. Went home. 7 years later, I walked in the office. The doctor says, what are you doing here? He said, I don't feel good. Oh, but what are you doing here? I want you to look at me. Totally amazed that this guy is still alive. He shouldn't be. Nobody told him he's going to die. You see how strong that mind of yours is? Okay. That's why we work on the immune system with that mind of yours. Powerful. Powerful. All right. So we're talking about he's got a problem. Bingo. It's in there. And what we're talking about so far is getting rid of what's in there. How to get in by the doctor or somebody else. I had a cancer patient. They sent him home. 3 weeks to live. Back in 1983. Inoperable cancerous brain tumor. Hospice of the Valley brought me over there. His name is Joe. I walk in and Joe could hardly walk. Joe stood about 6'2", skinny as a rail. All the hair on his head is gone, his beard is gone. And we're sitting there just talking. His wife is June. And she said, how about, she said, would you care for a cup of coffee? I said, yeah. Well, let's go in the kitchen and have a cup of coffee. We're in the kitchen, and Joe's lying on the couch. And she says, why are you here? I said, well, the hospice brought me over here to make Joe feel better. I understand that he only got 3 weeks to live. She said, yeah, we don't have any money to pay you. I said, nobody pays me. Not the hospice, nobody else. I said, let me make him feel better. Is that okay with you? And she said, yeah. I said, you wouldn't care if I cured him, would you? Oh my God, she said, you're crazy. There's no cure from inoperable cancerous brain tumor. Got a letter, Dr. Craigsfield. Dr. Craigsfield, Barry says, take him home, make funeral arrangements. He's dead in 3 weeks. And June went over to the Hanson Funeral Home, made funeral arrangements. Whole thing. So while I was there, hi, is everybody? Hi, hi, hi. And we talked and we chattered. And when he was to leave, he blessed Joe, and he said, well, June, come on, I'll bless you too. And he put his hands over June, and he blessed June and started walking. I'm sitting in a chair. I said, hey, Father, come back here. Come back here. How about you blessing me, and then I'll bless you. Then we're all even. What do you say? And he laughed. I said, well, come on. Let's do it. He said, okay, I'm with you. And I'm sitting there. He puts his hand. He says, God bless you and all the other things. And I got up and I said, no. I says, okay, Father, I says, and I bless you. And I went through the whole thing. Shook hands and away he went. Broke the ice a little bit, you see. Joe and June, pretty well devoted Catholics. The children going to the Catholic school. And now they found out that I was Catholic. And we got a little closer together. Well, I saw Joe November 3rd, 1983. First time. When I saw him, he could not eat or swallow the smallest piece of solid food, not bigger than my fingernail. I asked June to get something. He chewed on it. For 20 minutes, he couldn't swallow it. For 9 months, everything in the blender, he stuck it through a straw. So I worked with him every day for about a month. A month. You didn't get it. Already he's not supposed to be dead. By Christmas time, Joe has eaten a full meal. Spaghetti and meatballs. In January, I took Joe out to the Phoenix Open Golf Tournament. March, he went to California and spent St. Patrick's Day in California with his friends. In June, he went to Ireland for 2-week vacation. And I knew they were broke. So before they left, I said, June, I said, I got a little envelope. I said, in case you want to buy something, a little souvenir for yourself, this is for you to buy yourself a souvenir from me. Okay? Fine. Well, they went to Ireland, and they're looking around, and they see this nice glassware up there. China, or not China, glassware, crystals. And she said, oh, could I go for that? And Joe says, well, he said, Mike gave you an envelope. He says, you got a few dollars in there. They opened the envelope. There's a $100 bill in there. And they bought the present. They came back, sitting up on a shelf up there, and he says, look what you bought me. You see, I just gave them some life, something to work with. Somebody